Ko Wen-je faces donation scandal amid wife's luxury home hunt. Taiwan refutes Xi's claim of sovereignty over the island. Youth housing loan surge triggers mortgage tightening, frustrates homebuyers. Canadian convenience store chain proposes bid to purchase 7-Eleven. Indians Modi to visit Ukraine. Australia and Indonesia to deepen military ties. EU slashes planned tariffs on China-made Tesla EVs. Wukong makes game history in first-day rush.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Thursday, August 22nd, and here are your top stories. And for today's Taiwan news,柯文哲, the chairman of the Taiwan People's Party, has recently been embroiled in a controversy over the inaccurate reporting of political donations. Meanwhile, his wife, Chen Pei-chi, was reported to have viewed a $120 million house near the Legislative Yuan last month, surprising the public with how deep her pockets seem to be. Additionally, it has been rumored among real estate agents that Chen Pei-chi didn't just view one house, but 3 in total. Chinese President Xi Jinping recently issued joint statements with Vietnam and Fiji, claiming that Taiwan is Chinese territory. In response, Taiwan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs yesterday strongly refuted the claim, reiterating that only Taiwan's democratically elected government has the right to represent the Taiwanese people in international forums such as the United Nations. China and its follower states have no right to interfere. The surge in home loan applications sparked by the new youth housing loan program has led to a sudden tightening of mortgage lending by banks since early July. Homebuyers are facing a cash crunch, unable to secure loans or complete purchases, leading to widespread frustration. The Financial Supervisory Commission may consult with the central bank for a solution. And in global news, when the owner of 7-Eleven announced this week that it had received a buyout offer from a Canadian rival, it sent shockwaves through Japan. A Japanese company of this size has never been acquired by a foreign firm. Historically, Japanese companies were more likely to buy overseas businesses. 7-Eleven is the world's largest convenience store chain with 85,000 outlets across 20 countries and territories. It has been particularly successful at positioning itself as an option for a quick, cheap, yet tasty meal, even in places where such options are already abundant, like Japan and Thailand.
The approach valued 7-Eleven at more than $30 billion, £23 billion, before news of the preliminary offer emerged. 7-Eleven's shares jumped by over 20% on Monday. Analysts attribute this to the Japanese yen's weakness against the US dollar and other major currencies, which has made 7-Eleven more affordable. In addition to the weak yen, efforts by the Japanese government to promote mergers and acquisitions appear to be effective. However, the proposal is still at a preliminary stage, and given the potential size of the deal, it could face scrutiny from competition authorities. The firm has also been updating its strategy, with more stores possibly adopting the approach of its Japanese shops.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will travel to Ukraine weeks after he made his first trip to Moscow since Russia launched its full-scale invasion. His forthcoming visit to Ukraine, also his first since the start of the war, comes at a crucial moment as Kyiv's troops push further into Russian territory in a shock military offensive that stunned even Kyiv's closest allies. Modi has repeatedly called for a ceasefire in Ukraine without condemning Russia's aerial campaign or denouncing the ground invasion. India has also abstained from all resolutions on Ukraine at the UN.
India remains heavily reliant on the Kremlin for its military equipment and has ramped up purchases of discounted Russian crude oil, providing Russian President Vladimir Putin's nation a major financial lifeline as it faces isolation from the West. Modi will visit Ukraine on August 23 at the invitation of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The secretary reiterated that India has maintained a very clear and consistent position that diplomacy and dialogue can resolve this conflict. She added that lasting peace can only be achieved through a negotiated settlement. The trip comes a month after Modi visited Putin in July, a sign that the two nations remain close.
Australia and Indonesia have struck a new security pact that will lead to more joint military exercises and visits, prompt human rights advocates to call for safeguards. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese told the Indonesian Defense Minister and President-elect Prabowo Subianto in Canberra on Tuesday that there was no more important relationship than the one between our two great nations. The leaders announced the conclusion of treaty negotiations but did not allow reporters an opportunity to ask questions about the contents of the deal.
Australia and Indonesia said early last year they were negotiating to replace their existing defense cooperation arrangement with an upgraded agreement that would be binding under international law. Albanese said on Tuesday the historic treaty would bolster our strong defense cooperation by deepening dialogue, strengthening interoperability, and enhancing practical arrangements. He added that the pact would help the countries support each other's security, while also contributing to the stability of the region that we share. Australia has been seeking to deepen economic and security ties with its neighbors in Southeast Asia and the Pacific, in part as a response to China's growing influence across the region.
The European Union announced on Tuesday that planned tariffs on Tesla vehicles imported from China would be reduced to 9% from 20.8%, along with lowering planned import duties on other electric vehicle firms. In June, the EU stated it would impose higher tariffs on Chinese EVs, citing unfair subsidies that pose a threat of economic injury to European EV producers. The European Commission concluded that China's battery electric vehicle value chain benefits from unfair subsidization and declared it is in the EU's interest to impose provisional countervailing duties on BEV imports from China.
The EU Commission disclosed on Tuesday its draft decision to impose definitive countervailing duties on imports of BEVs from China. The regulatory body said that after receiving comments from interested parties on its planned tariffs, it would make a slight adjustment of the proposed duty rates based on substantiated comments on the provisional measures. EVs made by Tesla in China will now face duties of 9% on imports to the EU, down from an anticipated rate of 20.8%. Tesla shares rose more than 1% in U.S. morning trading following the EU's draft decision. The EU said it made the decision to grant Tesla its own lowered individual duty rate as an exporter from China.
A Chinese-made game backed by Tencent Holdings Limited has become the second most popular title ever on Steam within hours of its launch, an unusually rapid ascent that may help seal its place in industry lore. Black Myth, Wukong, an action-adventure title based on the antics of the fabled Monkey King, garnered more than 2.1 million concurrent players, which count the number of people playing a game at one time around the world, on Steam and its global debut Tuesday, surpassing the popularity of other much-hyped single-player titles like Cyberpunk 2077 and Elden Ring.
The strong first-day performance may help shore up expectations that China's $40 billion-plus gaming arena is rounding a corner after years of incessant regulatory scrutiny. Developed by Hangzhou-based Game Science, Wukong marks China's splashiest PC launch to date. Its debut generated outsized attention in part because, unlike many other blockbusters Tencent backs, it was wholly developed by a local studio. In China, Wukong generated a level of buzz the gaming industry hasn't seen in years. It shot to the top of Chinese microblogging site Weibo and dominated as the #1 trending topic throughout the day.
The answer for yesterday was A, intermittency. The intermittency of rainfall in the region makes it challenging for farmers to plan their irrigation schedules effectively. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into the news of EU slashes planned tariffs on China-made Tesla EVs. Number 1, tariff. 关税. The government decided to increase the tariff on imported goods to protect local industries. Number 2, impose. 征收强加. The government plans to impose new taxes on luxury items next year. Number 3, provisional. 临时的，暂时的. The committee set up a provisional plan until a permanent solution could be found. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comment section. The correct answer will be announced tomorrow. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune in to Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I'll see you next time.